Okay, so this is Elise and Sam. They are two good friends of mine from Belmont. They are songwriting majors. Well, Elise is a commercial voice, but she also songwrites amazing. So yeah, today I'm gonna be asking them some questions, and this is for a segment on my blog. So yeah, so why don't you guys introduce yourselves a little bit, like more than I did?
Cool.
All right, you want to go first?
Sure.
All right.
Well, hello. I'm Elise Peterson. I am originally from outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and like Sarah said, I am a commercial voice major and coming to Belmont started songwriting a little more, and yeah, been friends with Sam since way beginning of freshman year. So
Yeah. And I'm Sam. I am also a sophomore at Belmont. I'm studying songwriting and music business. I'm from outside Detroit, Michigan. And just like Elise, I've been friends with Elise since beginning of freshman year as well, and we started writing together a little bit, like towards the end of last school year.
yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So now that you guys know a bit more about them, I'm going to start asking you guys some questions. So the first one is, when did you start songwriting? Like, I guess at least you kind of said a little bit when you started, but maybe just elaborate on that a little bit for both of you.
Yeah. I I mean, really first started songwriting. I remember being in the bathtub when I was like 5 years old and writing a really great song about having dreams. And I literally can still sing it. I will not sing it today, but I still remember it.
Next interview.
Next interview, I will sing you my "If You Have a Dream" song. But yeah, and I wrote like a little bit in high school, but wasn't very confident in it until I like got to Belmont, and then like people around me just like really encouraged me and inspired me to write more. And now I like love to do it so much. So yeah.
I started writing, I think I was around 14, like my eighth grade year of middle school. I think that's around 14. And I had played guitar for like a couple of years before then and like sang like for fun and played guitar together. But like it was towards like the end of middle school, like beginning of high school where I started writing and went through like tons of bad songs, like as everyone does starting out. And then like kind of started taking it more seriously like around my junior year of high school. And like started enjoying it more and started kind of like trying to like work on my craft more like towards the latter end of high school.
Cool. So that's something like I guess I can kind of relate to, is just getting into it more later on in high school. I know some people I've talked to before that are songwriters are like, oh yeah, like I've been doing it since like serious hardcore since I was 12. And I was like, honestly, I was kind of figuring it out all through high school. And it took me getting into Belmont for me to be like, okay, I guess I should take this more seriously. Um, so it's definitely like relatable. So what drew you guys to songwriting, like specifically, more so than just doing, I don't know, anything else?
I think for me, just the way I don't know. I'm not always the best at like processing my emotions, but I always feel like I need to. Like I always had that need, but I just like didn't know how. And I think I got to a point where like I needed to process a lot of different things, but I needed to stop telling my best friend about it cuz she was like sick of it, and like that just like wasn't doing anything. And like journaling has always been a big thing for me, and so has like music, so it just kind of seemed like a very like logical next step for like um getting things that like I felt like out there. And also I just think like the creation of music is the most like beautiful, pure, amazing thing in the world, and I am just like honestly like so grateful that I have that God's given me the gifts to like be able to participate in that. So
For me, I think like part of the joy and like desire to write came from like the fact that like all the artists I listened to, um, like around my middle school years, like they were all like singer songwriters as well and wrote their own music, and like that really inspired me to like instead of like just covering songs, like to like start going out and trying to write my own songs and trying to express myself and kind of like get my feelings out on paper, like all of these like other artists did that I really admired. Um, and I also think like a part of it, like I really just enjoy like that aspect of songwriting that's like fitting the puzzle pieces together, like kind of where you get like sort of a rough outline of what you want and like a rough idea and just like tweaking lines and like matching rhymes up and stuff. Like for some reason that's just like really satisfying, like to my brain. And so like as time went on, like that was like part of the joy and like reason I really enjoyed songwriting that I found.
Cool. That's something I think I definitely can relate to as well. I don't know if you guys feel like this, but I feel like I feel my most accomplished sometimes. Like it's just such a like accomplished feeling when you have a song like finished, like beginning to end, and like it's just ready to be like performed and stuff. And you feel, I feel like for some reason I feel like a sense of just accomplishment more than I have with anything else I've done in my life. So I think
Yeah.
that's usually a hint to stay with something if you feel great about it. So kind of leading into what you were saying about like artists that inspired you, like what are some artists that have inspired you guys that are songwriters?
Ooh, a lot.
Okay, like two person. So it's not like an
Yeah.
outlaw.
Okay, I'll just like say off the top of my head, like right now, John Bellion has always been like number one for me. Not always, but like since 2015, um, he's been like really up there, and the way he writes is like so beautiful, and like his music is so different than mine. Probably always will be, but like just look up to him so much. And then recently, Adam Melcher has been big for me. I've had him on repeat for the last like 2 months, and I just love his writing style, and that's definitely a lot more similar to like what I do, which is really fun.
Cool.
I'd say for me, like all time, like definitely John Mayer. Like I'll go like one legacy artist, like one kind of newer artist, I guess. But like John Mayer is like my all-time favorite artist. Like his music is like what inspired me to like start playing guitar and singing and writing. And I know that like I'm like so like not special in that. And like the fact like that he's just influenced like so many like younger people like even now to like start playing guitar and writing music is super inspiring for me. And then as of late, um, like definitely Phoebe Bridgers. Like I don't know. I like have a little bit of pride that like I was a fan of her before this before this past year, where like it seems like she's just like skyrocketed in popularity. But like just the honesty in her songwriting, and I don't know. There's something about her voice that like I feel like I've never heard in another artist. Just like how crystal clear it is, and like her like authorial voice, just like the way she writes her music, and just like so brutally honest and like dark, but also like funny. Like I think I kind of aspire to have like my personality like shine through my music like hers does, even though like probably different like personalities would come through.
Hmm.
Like I kind of desire to have like that transparency in my own writing.
Yeah. And I think that's something that's so important for like new songwriters to realize, or even people like our age and stuff, that it's important obviously to like be inspired by people, and you can pick up traits that they have or like ideas, but never to fully mimic what they're doing, because I think we all have unique things to show in our songwriting and in our artistry. And so I think that's something that like for younger people it's really hard to like not get caught up in like I want to be exactly like Taylor Swift, but like pick out traits that you like about her stuff and like turn it into your own.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the next question is, um, what was something that you either that other you think other songwriters and yourself are struggling with, especially during like COVID, and that you guys have just found through all of this process that like has been a really big struggle for you?
Mm.
Honestly, like COVID specific, there's so many struggles, but COVID specific, I would say for myself, like I'm just like not experiencing much right now. Like there's just like not much going on in my life, and like there hasn't been a lot. And so honestly, just like finding things to like inspire me has kind of just been not super easy. So I'd say that for
Mm.
me.
Yeah, I was gonna kind of say the same thing, so I'll kind of echo what Elise said. And like I feel like a lot of writers have kind of had, including myself, and it sounds like Elise, like we've kind of had to branch out from like autobiographical writing to like a little more like dreamed up and
For sure.
like not unrealistic, but just like kind of fantasy writing, like writing about someone else's situation or like potential situations and stuff, which is something like that I've definitely like have a lot of growing to do and still, but like have definitely like had to do over COVID in quarantine for sure.
Yeah. And not to plug our own song, but like Strikes Twice is like probably one of the first songs I wrote that was like not like you said like autobiographical. Like we're just like okay, like let's make up a story and like go
Yeah.
with it, and like that was something I'd like never done before. But like since then has like I've been like relying on a lot more, which has been fun.
And like before we wrote like together in the summer, like it was like July, we were all like in our rut, and like we were like, okay, we haven't written this song in a month, so let's
Yeah.
just like give each other like a random song idea or title
Mhm.
and like write a song about it, which was like I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
But like it was just like another way of trying to like break out of that, like, okay, nothing's going on,
Yeah.
what do I write about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I can personally relate to as well, and I think a lot of creators can, whether people in the industry that already have made it or people like us trying to make it, is just I think COVID has really tested our limits of like how creative can we actually be. And I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like personally it has pushed me to become a better songwriter and to like read more, watch, be more aware of just even things in TV shows and like find any inspiration I can of anything like I can like find. Like even like example, like I was sitting in my room one day in the beginning of the semester and I was looking at I have lots of plants, as you guys probably know. I'm like a green thumb or whatever they call it.
Plant mom.
Plant mom.
Yeah. And so like I remember just sitting there, I was like, I have nothing to write about. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna write about like my plants. And then I wrote a song called Greenhouse. Because I was like, oh. So like I think that's something that I would encourage like everyone watching is whether or not like you feel like you can be inspired during things going on right now, like just find inspiration anywhere. Like write about the stupidest thing you can find in your room and like make it a song. And then you might actually get something good out of it. It might be stupid, but at least you wrote. So
Right.
something, yeah, I think it's so important. Like keep writing no matter like how boring life can get.
Yeah, and I feel like honestly, I find like a lot of fun in writing about things that are like outside myself because like I feel like when I'm writing about myself, like I feel this like requirement to like stay true to the whole story and like every
Mhm.
single thing I'm feeling and like being loyal to like the truth of my situation. But like I feel like when I'm writing about other things or even like taking a bit of like truth that I'm going through and kind of like expand on it and like go a little more like fictional about it, like there's so much more opportunity to like take a story wherever you want rather than like feeling like you have to like get your whole situation like accurately represented.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think also something that like you guys would probably agree with is writing about things around you is very and like other people's stories is very important if you ever want to be like just a songwriter because like you're going to work with plenty of artists and you're going to have to write about their lives, their stories, and it's going to be completely outside of your own experience. And so like I would definitely suggest anyone watching like get used to doing that and like write about your friends' lives, like your parents, anything that's outside of yourself. Obviously write about what you know too, but it's definitely good practice if you ever want to be professional. So yes. So the next question is, what's your advice to just new songwriters in general? Just like people who maybe don't even know if they want to continue doing it, and just yeah.
Great question. I still feel like a new songwriter, so it's kind of silly.
Me too.
But I guess I would just say, surround yourself with songwriters, even if it's because it's scary and like not fun. And when I first came into college, I was like, I'm a songwriter, and then I met all these songwriters, and I was like, oh no, I'm not. Like, I literally like did not call myself a songwriter until very recently because I thought it was like something I have to earn, but it's like it's what I do, and it's something that like you can claim as your own title, and just surrounding yourself with people and like asking to doing co-writes with people, especially when you're trying to find your sound. I found that to be very like helpful, because you can kind of like see like, oh, I really vibe with the way that this person writes melodies or the way that this person does lyrics, and like I kind of want to take a little bit into like when I write myself and stuff. Like that has been really helpful, even when you like have total imposter syndrome and you're like, I can't write with them, like they're too much, like they're so much better than me. But like so many people are just like down to like write with you, be creative, which is like the best. So
Yeah, that's so true. And I feel like since like I've came to Belmont and like been around like other writers, like at first like similarly it was like super intimidating.
yeah.
But like I feel like my writing has like grown so much from like
Mhm.
being around like you and like all like other people
Everyone
who are
we
writing
know.
that we know. Yeah, so I would definitely again echo what Elise said. And like maybe just like another added thing, like I feel like there was so much time like between the first time like I tried to write and like the first time like I wrote a song that like I really liked and felt like was a good song.
Mm,
So like just
yeah.
like the I don't know, I would like give the advice of like you will like write a good song. Like it just takes time even if like they're not coming now. Like there's always another song
Yeah.
that will come. Like whether
Mhm.
you're like in writer's block or not, like there's always the next song to come. So like don't be discouraged by this last one or this one that you're working on that you just don't like and
Yeah.
it's not coming as easily because sometimes you'll just wake up and there will be an idea that's worthwhile pursuing and most of the days there's not, but like if you're like determined and like have the drive to like continue writing, like it will come and like those songs and ideas will come.
That's so good because like I feel like when I have writer's block, it feels like such like an indefinite like forever thing. Like when I can't think of a good song idea or I'm working on a song that I'm like this just like sucks and I don't really want to finish it. It always I'm always like I'm never gonna write a song again. Like I'm so dramatic about it and I'm like I've ran out of ideas. I've like written all the songs that I could ever write and then like a week later I write a song that I'm like wait this is actually kind of good and so it's not forever, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely relate to that, and I think probably every songwriter does. Just like writer's block to me is the most paralyzing feeling I feel like I've ever had, where I feel like I'm sitting there and I'm like you said, I feel like I've written all the songs I can write, and I'm like I've used all the chords I can use, all the melodies, all the ideas. I was like I have nothing, and then sometimes just stepping outside of that for like a day and just living, reading, doing other things, like the inspiration does come, and I think that's something that's so important for people to realize. Like writer's block, like you said, is not permanent at all. Like, and sometimes like it's just getting outside of your head. Like it's all in your writer's block is all in your head. And I think taking that pressure off yourself to be great every time you write. Like I know I've talked to songwriters before and they're like, I feel like if I'm not writing a great song, like I don't want to be writing a song that day. And like sometimes it's just about the process of writing. Like the song, like I said, can be absolutely terrible. I've written probably way more terrible songs than I have good ones. But it's just going through that process and the exercising of your like brain muscles and stuff like that of doing it a song from start to finish and like that becomes more natural and then also like even starting off your day with like doing a writing exercise I've learned from even like other songwriting professors and stuff is like it kind of wires your brain to like work like a songwriter throughout the day and so like you pick up on things and like I'll put things in my notes constantly like just phrases and just places and stuff like that and I feel like that alone is such a like solution to like a writer's block is like doing things throughout your day. So if there is a day that you have writer's block, you can look back through your notes and like find things that inspire you again.
For sure.
Yeah. So last thing is I want you guys to talk about your song. They have a song called Strikes Twice coming out on February 19th.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so you guys need to stream it when it comes out. But I want you guys to just talk a little bit about your process of writing that. I know you guys did a little bit. And then they're going to perform it for you guys. So yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, so we wrote this song and I don't quite remember when. Sometime
Maybe
this
July.
Summer, maybe July. But it was over FaceTime because we were both home. And we wrote it and it was like fun and like I liked the song we did it, but like I forgot about it. Like I honestly like we wrote it and I was like, great, and then like completely just didn't remember it existed. But Sam did, and we were like trying to write when we first got back to Nashville, and like it was some song that I don't remember it, but like after that Sam was like, we should like play that song, like let's sing it, and I was like, what song? Like I just didn't remember it, and like now I mean it's definitely one of my favorite songs that I've ever written. But it's kind of funny because I like really forgot about it, but now I don't know how I forgot about it. It's not a forgetable song. It's like really good.
It's funny because like while you like forgot about it, like that song had been like in my head like every few days I would like think about it and be like, oh yeah, that song, like I want to record that like sometime soon. And so when I brought it up and you're like, oh, like what song? I was like, oh, that one. But yeah, so
That's why it's on your EP.
yeah, so we like came back to school, and a friend of mine who I've had a few songwriting classes with, Scott Burrell. Big shout out to Scott. He's like a great producer. He does
Great.
like I feel like I don't necessarily, or up until that point, I hadn't written like a ton of just like pop songs, but I feel like Strikes Twice is like pretty like pop oriented song, and Scott does like really great pop production. So like I kind of like had him in mind for it, and coming back to school, like I was starting to like try to put together some recordings of songs like to potentially like get out this school year. So Scott helped produce it, and then I was like, hey Elise, remember this song? Want to record it? And yeah, and that's kind of how it came about. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say I'm very glad that I wrote this song with Sam, because Sam is one of his strengths is you're very detail oriented. Like very detailed, which is amazing, because I have no patience for that. And like that's why I don't do my own. Well, I mean, I'm trying to learn to get better at production, but I'm not very good at it. And like Sam just has a very clear vision for a lot of things. So especially a lot of the like instrumental things that you'll hear in the song and in the track, very much Sam and Scott, which is great. So
Well,
yeah,
that's very kind.
yeah. Should we play it? Is it time to play it?
Sure, let's
Okay, we'll play it.
let's give it a shot.
No pressure.
All right.
Hydrate.
One take sort of deal.
We played this 2 nights ago, so we're pretty much pros at it now.
Speak for yourself. I'm kidding. All right. Wanted you to meet my mother, but then you dished the dinner. You sat there, something came up at work, but I can tell there was something different. We've been running through the same games, pretending that it's a 2-lane. Well, we both know it's only one way. You don't care about what you're missing. I was thinking if you loved me, you would put me above every other, 'cause you used to. Now I'm back to just praying that the lightning strikes twice.
Last month it was all roses. Last week I was still hoping. Last night I saw you weren't open to fix it when you and I had broken. I was thinking if you loved me, you would put me above every other, 'cause you used to. Now I'm back to just praying that the lightning strikes twice.
Past the point of the electricity, until the clouds fade out, I'll hold on to this key. I was thinking if you love me, you would put me above every other, 'cause you used to. Now I'm back to. Oh, I was thinking if you love me, you would put me above every other, 'cause you used to. Now I'm back to just praying that the lightning strikes twice.
Thank you guys so much for doing this with me. And everyone better stream Strikes Twice. I better see it on like the top charts. I'm very upset.
It's our pleasure, Sarah. Thanks for having us. This is so sweet.
And yeah, I'm just so grateful for you guys as friends, as songwriters, as just classmates, as everything.
The
And
feeling is mutual. We love you,
yes,
Sarah.
yes, love you guys. Okay, so yeah, so everyone go check their song out and